Oh, yes. We're going to go a little early. Welcome to Doug in Exile. You're here live. This is where the happy patriots are. This just came in on Mitch McConnell. I'll say hi to you all in just a second. Let me get to the first piece because some people go, hey, where's the news involved with the thumbnail? Here's the news. I'm going to check off your thumbnail first so you can all get your happy time in. Voting bloc, 4 Republican senators historically critical of President Trump voted against instructing the chamber's rules committee to find a way to add the Save America Act elements to the budget reconciliation package. These are all the usual suspects. Collins, Murkowski. I just heard that Collins could lose Maine. She could be in trouble. And of course, Mitch McConnell down here on the right, who is basically the right's Joe Biden. He's our zombie. Let me get to the article. There's a little more detail on this over here at the National News Order. Here we go. 4 Republicans oppose adding save voting requirements to the budget plan. This is one that they tried sneaking in last night at like 2 a.m. or whatever. Hunt Valley, 4 Republican senators opposed adding voting requirements found in various versions of the SAVE legislation to their budget plan early Thursday morning. This happened at 3 a.m. this morning. Senator Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, traitor, Lisa Murkowski voted against the amendment proposed by their Republican colleague, John Kennedy of Louisiana, to establish voter ID requirements. Mitch McConnell, Kentucky, with Democrats with backstabbers like Mitch McConnell, who needs Democrats. The measure, one of many considered in the Senate's overnight budgetary session, failed on a 48 to 50 vote. This is why we have to vote and get even more Republicans in, because the Republicans that we have right now are no good. Murkowski, Tillis, you can't, and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you don't have enough votes, so now everyone's mad at John Thune, going, John Thune, get rid of the filibuster. First of all, I agree. John Thune, get rid of the filibuster. But the reason why we're in this trouble is because we don't have 10 seats ahead, because the Democrats are doing crooked redistricting, because of their own shenanigans at every level. You know, the real answer to everything is expand your majority with real rock-ribbed Republicans, not the Mitch McConnells of the world. So we got to move them out, keep expanding our majority. And I mean, that's just how politics works, guys. I mean, I wish I could tell you different, but I really can't. Let me do, well, here's another one. This is a third version of that same story from Fox News. Republicans fail to attach the Save America. And you can see, you're going like, well, why isn't it just automatically attached? Well, all the rules and all those voting is how this stuff works. This is all like arcane rule stuff. We failed to attach the Save America Act to a party line funding package. For Republican senators 4 of them joined Democrats. Now, why wouldn't Mitch McConnell look in the mirror and say, what's wrong with me? Am I decrepit? Am I insane? Am I senile? In voting against a citizenship verification measure early Thursday morning. By the way, for those people saying he's aged out and needs to retire and term limits now, that doesn't explain Tillis, Murkowski, Collins. They're not insane. They're just rhinos, Democrat rhinos. A conspiracy of Senate Republicans joined Democrats to sink a late-night attempt to attach a version of the voter ID and citizenship verification legislation to the GOP's bill funding the federal immigration enforcement. And so basically, this is one way. The good news is that they protected the funding of ICE and the Border Patrol. They go, look, let's not mix in the SAVE Act while we're here. Let's just do the clean bill. So There is a strategy to it. I'm just saying it doesn't surprise me. They took 4 people whose career is in the toilet so they could take the heat to do something very unpopular and not allow that SAVE Act to be put in the bill. Their defection, I'll say their defecation, came during the Senate's marathon vote-a-rama, where lawmakers could force votes on any number of amendments, regardless of whether they mesh with the underlying budget blueprint. We had a shot at it. Mitch McConnell absolutely screwed us over, man. I cannot wait till that guy retires hardcore. It's just really bad news. Now, on the good news, we got to get to Iran here. So let me do this real quick. Okay. And thank you for joining me. Don't forget, guys, we got Victor Davis Hanson. Give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe. That's free. We have to do an update on Iran. Welcome to Doug in Exile. To those of you just joining us, things are going well, but I mean, Iran is decimated. Here's Victor Davis Hanson with some clarity and strategy on what Trump can do with Iran.
They just have to communicate that. And we don't communicate that. We get all these different tangents. But all the president has to say is, phase 1 was to get rid of their ability to make war. Done. Phase 2 was to be magnanimous and show them that we did not want to go to phase 3, economic strangulation. We had negotiations, but they negotiated in bad faith, as they have for 47 years. So now we're in phase 3. Phase 3 is you are going to have no national income. And we're going to persist until you decide that you want to renounce your war-making intentions, abilities in every aspect, from conventional to nuclear.
Now, that's Victor Davis Hanson at the Daily Signal. I really hope you guys will check them out. I'm a huge fan of Victor Davis Hanson and the Daily Signal. We're going after them financially, is all he's saying, and we should continue that strategy. Strangle them financially. Notice Trump's doing this now. You know, before we were fighting a war with Hegseth, knocking things out with bombs. Well, now, and that's Hegseth's expertise. Well, now we're in Trump's expertise of economics, economically strangling them. And notice Trump doesn't have to worry about being in a war, starting a war, nuclear war. Are our troops going to get involved? We basically managed our way into manipulating and controlling the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's entire economy. We're winning peacefully.
And we're not going to start a war with you, a new bombing, but I guarantee you, we can say that if you start to hit other people, or you're going to get a retaliatory strike 5-6 times in greater intensity for each one you do. So don't do it, because you're broke. And I think you'll start to see the people rise up. I really do.
Yeah, we got to get the people. Now, the people, remember the last time the people rose up in Iran, it was over economics. I believe that was in February. They were going through a drought. They're going through economic turmoil. They are completely screwed over in Iran. So economic turmoil is very good for overthrowing a regime. Hopefully, that's what happens. Here's Trump on saving those 8 Iranian women's lives, which, you know, he's the only one. He was very humble about it, very good about it. I saw the fake news by Iran. Iran said those are all AI women. It's not true. We have confirmed sources. Trump has confirmed sources, and they made a moral decision not to do it.
So I'm not under any pressure whatsoever. We've never had so much ammunition. Our ships are loaded. I call them locked and loaded. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go. We have much higher quality equipment than we did when we first started the war, and or the military operation, whatever you want to call it. And they're coming to us. The problem they have is they are very disorganized right now. Well, now yesterday, and I was
they have no ability to talk to each other. Their leadership are all fighting each other for power right now. Between the IRGC, not only a faction even within the IRGC, which is the religious leadership, versus their own military. It was the military that was trying to perform a coup and overthrow them. But basically, no one's in charge in Iran. We can't do a deal with them because there's no one person with the authority to say, yes, we will do peace. Yes, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. Because the next little regime of 18 people over there in that other section might decide to do a nuclear weapon. But in the meanwhile, Trump saved those women's lives.
Very pleased with this. 8 young women were going to be executed yesterday afternoon at 6 o'clock. And I asked them, call it a favor or call it just a moral request that they not be executed. And they came back with an answer that they won't be executed. They're going to release, it was protesting. 8 beautiful young women, very young women. And the pictures in the paper. And it's been a story for a little while. And I saw that and I said, let's see if we can save them. And it was very nice what happened. So they're not going to be, what they're doing is, as you know, they're releasing 4 of them very shortly, and they're going to keep 4 of them in jail for a period of 1 month and release them. So they won't be executed yet.
That might even be a negotiating tactic because Iran, that's all they know is terrorism. These filthy slobs. Here's Hugh Hewitt on the strategy over there in Iran. Now it appears that the regime's real power is wielded by Ahmad Vahidi, the chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. He is on the 5-man council, but he's not part of the team negotiating a deal to end the war. So this is just an example of how they're spaghetti over there, guys. You can't get them to agree. Here's some cool news out of Egypt, which is related to, we're fighting Islamic radicals, guys. The moderate part of Iran are not, we're trying to talk to them, but they haven't taken over yet. We need the people to rise up and take over. Here's in Egypt, a country that receives billions of dollars in aid. They arrest you if you convert to Christianity. Someone tell Tucker Carlson, because he keeps being apologist for all these Muslim insane regimes. Don't expect any podcasters to talk about it. I love this because this is exactly the kind of stuff I talk about. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm a born-again Christian. I talk about my faith in Jesus Christ all the time. I welcome an audience full of Christians. You don't get made fun of here. You'll notice I don't put the cuss words in my thumbnail. And that's out of respect for you, because in real life, I have a slightly more foul mouth. Okay, here's the Mossad commentary on that Christian guy in Turkey. I'm sorry, in Egypt. Egyptian convert to Christianity said Mansour Rizk al-Badezek has been detained in Egypt since 2025 after attempting to officially change his religious status. Charged with unspecified terrorism offenses, he remains in prolonged pre-trial detention. So this can happen to those ladies that went to prison also. They just deny them basic rights. This is like normal Muslim regime garbage. His case was heard April 21st, 2026. That was a couple days ago, with proceedings delayed until June 15th. He remains behind bars. Will Tucker Carlson advocate for his acquittal? Tucker Carlson, the big Christian brother, are you going to go in here? What? Why not, Tucker? Go talk to Turkey. Do something good, brother. Wait, there's more. The FBI received a tip that an individual out of Lexington, North Carolina, was planning a mass casualty event in North Carolina at a Jewish day school. The individual in question was swiftly arrested and charged. So we got another Democrat that was going to go shoot up a school. The targeting of Jewish Americans must end. Enough is enough. Lexington teenager. But the good news is our good guys got it first. We stopped one, guys, a shooting event. And then finally, here's Trump on settling that war, that we could end it at any time.
Weeks that the U.S. now has been involved with Iran. You had initially said it would be 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, I hope that, but I also took a little break. I gave them a break. And remember this, I want to make the best deal. I could make a deal right now. Do you know that if I left right now we had a tremendous success. It would take them 20 years to rebuild, but I don't want to do that.
He's holding out for a better deal, and that's why Trump's the greatest deal maker we've ever had in office. I just can't thank Trump enough. And it just, it makes exile very tolerable. That and being with all of you. I'm Doug in Exile. We're going to move on to the next story. But first, let me take care of this super chat here by my buddy. Jury rigged, 9712, $100 super chat. Countries governed by religious fanatics inevitably resort to atrocities to maintain control. That's true. Why? Why? We all have a philosophy. And in the case of most of us I have a pretty radical religion. Christianity is a radical religion. I believe people that don't accept it go to hell. And so then you might misconstrue that God's message is to keep them from going to hell. You must go and force everyone to convert. And that is, of course, not in the language of Christianity. You never convert by the sword. Islam keeps claiming there can be no compulsion in their faith, and yet they always make their faith compulsory. Thanks for that, jury rigged. Yeah, they're radical. I believe this is going to end in bloodshed, flat out. Because Muslims are so radical. All right, I have some UFO news coming up. I'm going to save that to the end. It's too much fun. Let's do some Obama. Let me get this, let me remove this. Let me get my new news up here. Where's my Obama tab at? Come on, people. I can't find my news suddenly. I have so many tabs open, guys. There's no way I can find anything. My desktop is just a spaghetti mess. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is going to be good right here. Okay. Well, for those of you just joining us, we have 2,000 people watching. Give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of why we're happy is we're going to demolish Barack Obama as the charlatan scoundrel that he is. Okay, check this out. Dang, look at that. It's not there. Add that. Okay. Okay, what's this document? It's all coming out. The Russia hoax was a coup, and Obama was briefed from the start. So he knew. Knowledge makes him guilty, very guilty. So he knew from the start. Catherine Herridge just dropped a bombshell letter with margin notes proving, one, Obama has personally was briefed by John Brennan on Hillary and Brennan's schemes. And I believe Brennan is the first guy they're going after down there in Florida. Comey and Peter Strzok were also read in on it. And so Comey would be second. And Clapper the third. The FBI knew the intelligence was exaggerated or fabricated, yet they ran the Russia scam Mueller investigation for 3 straight years to destroy President Trump. They knew it was fake. They did it anyway. The biggest political scandal in American history. Now, here's the notes. Let's see. This is the document that she has all noted up. And Catherine Herridge is leading this whole kind of, she and John Solomon are my 2 favorite sources on this. She's a very serious journalist, guys. They're not messing around. Now, on that, Barack Obama supported that Virginia redistricting thing. And Barack Obama, he's the gift that keeps on giving. He never stopped opposing the Constitution and doing what is basically illegal. Here's Lance Gooden. When Republican-led states redraw maps, and you'll hear the video clip, Barack Obama calls it monkey business. When Democrat-led states do the same, it's called saving democracy. Barack, there are no more rigged maps than those in Illinois, California, New York, and now Virginia. Here's Barack Obama.
when we are finished with this monkey business that we're seeing in Texas.
Oh, okay. When Texas does it, it's monkey business.
And Carolina and Missouri and potentially Indiana, when we're not seeing that kind of behavior out of not just the president, but his enablers.
Not just the president, but his enablers. And now he runs doing that exact same thing in Virginia, calling it something different. But don't worry, guys, this whole thing's going to get overturned. This is posted by Nick Sorter. While former Virginia AG Ken Cuccinelli says the VA Supreme Court will unanimously rule on the Democrats' redistricting stunt and was unconstitutional in multiple ways. Let's get to the theory here with, and look at, there's Obama down there being all angry, which makes me happy.
Ken Cuccinelli, he's a Republican. Ken, good to see you. So first, I guess let's get to the breaking news. This judge in Southern Virginia ordering results to not be certified. The judge called the ballot language flagrantly misleading. What's your reaction?
Right. Well, it certainly was flagrantly misleading, but my basic reaction is that I appreciate lower court wins, but the Virginia Supreme Court is going to decide this. And to Terry's point about, well, hey, if they didn't decide it before, there's a reason the Supreme Court held off until after the vote. Over 100 years of Virginia legal precedent says that the vote in a referendum is part of the legislative process. It's analogous to a governor signing a bill.
Okay, just for a quick explanation of what that means. It means that why didn't they preemptively pull this off the ballot? That's because in Virginia, they consider the vote itself part of the legal process. So it would have gone away if the referendum won and it went, no, do not change the redistricting. So when it goes yes, that's what triggers their ability to go back in and look at it. That's all he's saying.
You don't sue on a bill that hasn't passed yet. So what they've done here in terms of timing is very much in keeping with the Virginia legal history. What isn't in keeping with Virginia legal history is how this General Assembly has so blatantly ignored the requirements of the Constitution to amend the Constitution. Mm-hmm. So I think it's highly likely that this will be overturned probably in May.
So CNN's Manu Raju pressed Speaker Johnson today about some of the criticism from Republicans that the Republican Party, did not spend enough money to fight the Democratic measure. Take a listen.
Republicans have spent more money. Trump didn't barely touch his super PAC money. Should you guys have spent more money?
True. We don't know the final result, but the president's team spent a lot. We put in tens of millions of dollars on that ballot initiative.
I mean, given the fact that the margin was much more narrow than a lot of Democrats anticipated, what do you think? Did Republicans miss a chance here?
Well, there's no question that the 3 or 4 to 1 spending difference was the margin. You know, when all the votes are counted, this will be about a 2 or 3 point win for the yes side. That is, it's hard to say that money didn't make that difference, but
yes, it made that difference. When it's 3 to 4, in fact, it was more like 2%, and we were outspent 4 to 1. That's a money issue. So that's why they were jumping down Mike Johnson's throat, going, "You should have thrown a little money at this thing."
Now they have to win
a little more money, I should say. And how can you guess? How can you know how much to spend when you have George Soros spending with Barack Obama $64 million?
4 constitutional challenges, state constitutional to clarify, challenges, and they have to win all 4 of them to hold on to this referendum. I just don't think they can do it. There's some very basic processes in the Constitution for amending the Constitution that they ignored.
So they broke their own laws. That's what Democrats always do. The good news is, if this does get overturned, and that's what Cuccinelli is predicting, this thing in Virginia gets overturned, that redistricting, it means they will have wasted all those tens of millions of dollars, and we will have possibly saved some. Now, let me see if I have any more. I do have more here. This is just Barack Obama BSing with this blonde girl. No, not Jennifer Aniston. I know what you guys are thinking already. Here's this dingbat girl just praising Barack Obama.
Do you still feel that hope in our country?
I do.
I do. Do you still feel hope?
You know, the first time I was on the national stage and I talked about hope.
Hope in the face of difficulty.
I reminded people hope is not blind optimism.
The audacity of hope.
Hope arises in the face of difficulty, in the face of uncertainty. And obviously we're going through some uncertain times.
But no, Barack, we were going through uncertain times under you. That's when we needed hope. MAGA had hope that we could get through your uncertain times and Joe Biden's uncertain times. So don't try and politicize it like only one side, requires hope. Here's Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell Daily over here says, this is on Barack Obama. I see him as someone who all his life has been associated with people who fundamentally don't believe in the principles of this country. He always sought out the most radical people. He worked as a community organizer. He doesn't organize a community. He's mobilizing all the resentments, organizing them in order to put them into battle to get what they want from other people. I can't think of a better quote that describes Barack Obama. And now finally, let's get to the Hill, because I'm going to end on a little piece of dessert for you guys on this article. Barack Obama lost his Netflix deal. Here we are over the Hill. Obama says higher ground production company to go independent. I've worked in Hollywood, guys. I worked in it for 30 years, and that means you got fired. Former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama production company, Higher Ground, will go independent after launching with Netflix over 8 years. Multiple outlets reported. By the way, they got paid $90 million. In a Saturday interview with the historian John Meacham at the event in Philadelphia honoring America's 250th anniversary, the former president indicated we were in a partnership with Netflix. Deadline reported. And now, thank goodness, that deal is over. That's what makes us happy. And thank you guys for joining us here in exile. Okay, we got more to come up. I got another story. I got a Ilhan Omar garbage coming up, that trash heap of a lady. First, let me get to some of your super chats. Jury rigged, 9712, $100 super chat, always with the wisdom. In my honest opinion, America is not perfect, but we're closer to it than any other country. That's just indisputably true, despite malignant politicians. And jury rigged, I think you'll agree with me. We know this is our home. This country is our home. It's like going through your own house. And you might see a wall full of termites and you don't go, well, I'm going to burn the place down. You're going to go, no, I have so many memories here. It's so great. This is my home. I think I'll go fix it. I'll rip that wall out and I'll put a new wall up. That's what you do. You fix your home. So we're seeing our home. And because we live in our home, we're more likely to see the termites and the mold, and the squeaky door. And the drawer that doesn't work. Same thing with your car. That is because we're here, our criticisms are more valid because we see what's wrong better. We're not complaining from the outside. And we do really deeply love this country. Okay, next up. Let me get to that. Where's Ilhan Omar? Where's that? Because this is a scoop, I think. I don't know. Okay. Oh, this is a Nick Shirley video. We love Nick Shirley. Okay. For those of you just joining us, welcome to Doug in Exile. You know that I've been following this brilliant young man, Nick Shirley, from the very, very beginning. He's absolutely going to flush Ilhan Omar's hijab right down the toilet. Welcome to Doug in Exile as we roast. Trump's this is opening quote's going to be Trump. He notices Nick Shirley's incredible work. Just imagine being that young guy and having the president recognize you like this.
17 of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, representing 80% of the branded drug market, have now agreed to sell their drugs to American patients at the lowest prices anywhere in the world. We're going to have the lowest prices in the world. This will result in the largest drop in prescription drug prices in the history of the United States of America. I mean, it should be front page news, but it won't be. It'll be back on page 19, but the people get it. That's why we're in the Oval Office, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. He says, just in, Nick Shirley went to Washington, D.C. to deliver Ilhan Omar an anti-fraud hoodie. Nick Shirley has zero fear. Let me get to that clip because he was in that room, that right there with Trump. Here he is going up to Ilhan Omar, offering her a End the Fraud hoodie.
Here is the representative, Ilhan Omar. Today, we're here in the fraud capital of America. We're here in Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. Here you have some of the best stock traders and top fraudsters like Ilhan Omar. Right now, we're going to give her a new hoodie. She took the last Leering Center hoodie. We have a new one asking, where did our tax dollars go? And we want to see if she'll become a member of the Anti-Fraud Taxpayer Club. Now we've made it to Ilhan Omar's office. Here is the representative, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. There it says, abolish ICE. I think we should abolish fraud here inside the United States. Let's see if they'll take the hoodie. Hello. How are you doing? Is Ilhan here by chance? No, she's not. Well, we wanted to see if she'd become a member of the Anti-Fraud Taxpayer Club. We actually have a new hoodie for her right here. And we were just wondering if you could deliver this to Ilhan. Thank you so much. And tell her that we wish to abolish fraud here inside the United States as well. Will you do that? And also, I met this really cute British girl, and she wanted citizenship, and I was wondering how that would work out. All right, they're calling security. You guys, you can go ahead and become a member of Anti-Fraud Taxpayer Club. Go to antifraudclub.com. You can even cop yourself a hoodie. And now let's leave Capitol Hill.
Who was that guy in pink? I know the volume was low on that, guys. I'll fix it in the next version of this episode. I'm so sorry, but watch this. This is we're not done with Ilhan Omar yet. That was just Nick Shirley's work on it. Now we're going to get some real work on her. Minnesota lawmaker takes action to get answers on Omar's alleged fraud ties. After she skips the key hearing, she ghosted us. Omar did not respond to an invitation or show up on a fraud hearing in Minnesota this week. There she is. I could play the clip. I'm going to go to the article instead. First on Fox, a Minnesota Republican lawmaker is demanding answers from Rep. Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, after the Democrat failed to appear at a state hearing examining her potential connections to the sprawling pandemic-era fraud scandal. State Rep. Kristen Robbins, chair of the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee. That's a mouthful. Imagine that being your job. Where do you work? Oh, at the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee. Sent a formal letter to Ilhan Omar on April 22nd, criticizing her absence from a scheduled committee hearing she was invited to and requesting extensive documentation related to the Feeding Our Future investigation that has gained national attention in recent months. That's her giant fraud. She didn't show up to the hearing. I think she should be. What do you think? Are we going to subpoena her? Can we give her prison time somehow? Minnesotans and members of the House Fraud Prevention and State Oversight Committee were disappointed that you failed to appear before our committee to answer questions, unquote. And she wasn't there in the office to receive her anti-fraud sweatshirt from Nick Shirley. Instead, there was this gay fat guy wearing pink answering the door. Robbins wrote in the letter obtained by Fox News Digital referring to Omar's no-show at a hearing focused on the Meals Act, a federal COVID-19 relief measure passed in 2020 and sponsored by Omar. So this was meant to relieve food problems back in the COVID era, and she's taking advantage of it. Robbins is asking Omar to turn over communications. Yeah. Showing how she promoted expanded access to federal child nutrition programs. They never gave any food to them, guys. including emails, texts, and meeting records with the Minnesota Department of Education and constituents. All they're asking her for is there any proof that you did anything to help feed these kids using COVID money? And remember, they investigated her winery and said, where's the winery? And 9 days after it, they shuttered it, saying it's out of business. This request also zeroed in on Omar's public promotion of a Minneapolis restaurant that later became linked to the program. Robbins cited a Somali language TV appearance in which Omar highlighted Safari Restaurant as a meal distribution site and asked for all communication related to the video and the restaurant's participation. Yeah, let's get all those emails and all that communication. How do I get that? Because I think there'd be some very interesting conversations between Ilhan and a whole lot of illegals coming in. The video of that promotion was played during Tuesday's committee meeting as the lawmakers discussed the ties between Omar and individuals within the Minneapolis Somali community associated with fraud, a subject that Fox News has covered a lot. She didn't even respond. She ghosted us. Robbins told Fox News Digital about Omar ignoring an invitation to appear at the hearing. And her Meals Act is what created the conditions that allowed Feeding Our Future to happen. When asked if Omar has ever responded to any requests from the committee, Robbins said, no, we've sent multiple emails, multiple letters, nothing. Of course, I don't even know if she can read. The letter also raises questions about political donations Omar received from individuals later charged in the case, requesting any and all communications with those donors. That's the one that I want, are those donors. So Robbins is running for governor in Minnesota, has asked Omar to provide a written response to requests. This is the actual PDF file, legal document. I don't think we need to go through this. The lettering is very small. It's a bunch of legal gobbledygook, no doubt. The letter marks the latest escalation in Republican-led scrutiny of the Feeding Our Future scandal, which federal prosecutors say involved the theft of hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer-funded child nutrition during COVID-19. This is some very deep fraud. And remember, J.D. Vance, his anti-fraud council is going to be the ones that are going to follow up on this one. This is just the setup, what they're setting up here. Here's a clip of Ilhan Omar held campaign events at the fraud's actual headquarters with Fox News.
Financial disclosures had said the estate of Omar and her husband, Tim Minett, jumped from being in debt to somewhere between $6 million and $30 million in 2024.
Wow.
They amended their financial disclosure and released it to show the estate is really somewhere between $18,000 and $95,000. They blame the discrepancy as much as $29 million on an accountant who did not subtract the liabilities of Minett's businesses. And this is the same congresswoman who championed the Meals Act. That was the COVID relief program intended to provide food for poor kids suffering during the pandemic. Republicans say that created the pathway for the Feeding Our Future scandal, a $250 million boondoggle of meals billed but never provided. A restaurant at the center of the scandal was the Safari Restaurant. Omar held campaign events there. One of the owners, Salem Ahmed Saeed, was convicted for his role in the scandal. The Republican chair of the House Fraud Committee made repeated requests for Omar to show up. No response from Omar.
Never any proof that there was ever any food going to that place. It was used for campaign events. Well, now I believe there's enough swirl around Ilhan Omar that I don't know if there'll be arrests, but there's going to be some kind of a trial or prosecution where she's going to face a comeuppance, possibly a censure, possibly lose her seat if the proof they find. They have to get all these emails first, guys. And that's why we're staying on Ilhan Omar. She's a representative of all of the kind of fraud that's going on in California too. I hope you'll stay close to us so that you subscribe so that you'll hear about all the news on Ilhan Omar from Doug in Exile. Okay, new news, more news. The final chunk here we're getting into, all right? We're going to get to the aliens too, because this is nuts, but we're not quite in alien territory yet. We're going to do Michael Knowles here. Let's do this one.
But
Okay, Michael Knowles, I just thought this was a profound comment about what would happen if Kamala Harris won.
3 years ago, the SPLC was working with the DOJ. The SPLC was telling the DOJ how to go out and spy on Catholic churches, telling them to categorize Catholics as akin to domestic terrorists.
That's the SPLC, is the Southern Poverty Law Center that we now know funds Nazis and the KKK. And they're the ones that told Biden's DOJ, Merrick Garland, et cetera, Christopher Wray, to go after pro-life Catholics.
Was working with the Biden administration very, very closely to identify enemies and go prosecute them. Now, the DOJ is raiding the SPLC, is getting indictments from grand juries to prosecute the SPLC. That is a complete 180. It's a massive win for justice. And
Thank you, Kash Patel. Thank you, Pam Bondi, for starting this thing, but also thank you, Todd Blanche, for making this thing happen and moving hard on it. Pound them hard. They're going to get dissolved.
Shows you that elections do matter, and you don't always get exactly what you want. We got about 700,000 formal deportations last year, depending on how you count the self-deportations, which I think are pretty serious, up to 1 million or a little over 1 million. So, okay, call it 2 million, and then you don't have the 3 million illegals coming into the country that you had under Biden. So that's a net win of 5 million illegal aliens who aren't in the country now who would have been otherwise. Do I wish it were 10? Do I wish it were 15? I do. Do I wish that the economy were juicing even more than it is? Sure. Do I wish this, that, and the other? Yeah. I wish all of that. But guys, had Kamala won, the SPLC would be working with the DOJ right now to go prosecute you and your friends and your leaders and everybody. And
if Kamala won right now, the SPLC would be continuing that job. To the people that go, I'm not in the Trump train anymore. Just realize Trump spared you from being hunted by the Kamala administration. I would not have my channel back. I wouldn't have this job. I would be unemployed right now if Kamala Harris won. I would not be talking to you right now. And she would be spying on pro-lifers like me, every Catholic brother and sister out there, everyone out there. They'd still be funding the Klan, putting up false flag, fake Nazi cosplay to blame it on conservatives. It would still be going on. Wait, you know who else they spied on? This lady, my gal, Marsha Blackburn, here in Tennessee. The Southern Poverty Law Center once placed me on their hate list. That is, Marsha Blackburn was a hater on their hate list because they didn't like that I am a conservative. Turns out they are the duplicitous haters. You know who else was on that hate list? Guys like Charlie Kirk, Ben Carson was on their hate list. They're supposed to, Southern Poverty Law Center, they're supposed to be defending blacks and ending racism. They end up funding the Klan and they put Ben Carson on their hate list. That would be what would happening if not for Trump. It's why I'm totally loyal. To me, it's black and white, crystal clear, because it's not Trump versus perfection. I think Jury Rigged and I kind of talked a little bit about this earlier. It is not about Trump versus perfection. Of course, he's not perfect. No one could face against perfection. It was Trump against Kamala Harris. Those who opposed Trump's work, even in Iran, even the people like Alex Jones, is crying because what he's really saying is he wanted Kamala Harris to win. Candace Owens, she wanted Kamala Harris to win. Tucker Carlson, he's apologizing for helping Trump. He wanted Kamala Harris to win. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she wanted Kamala Harris to win. They want it. All these anti-Trumpers, anti-war, they hate Israel so much. They go, you know what? I used to be for Trump, but I hate Israel so much. I want Kamala Harris to win. Here's a little more on the best known funding groups. It's the SPLC. Here's the list again by Todd Blanche.
Southern Poverty Law Center is now accused of funneling more than $3 million to extremist groups and white supremacists. Take a look at this. From 2014 to 2024, the Southern Poverty Law Center allegedly funneled more than $3 million. To who? Let's talk about it. First of all, the accusations, according to the DOJ, is that they funneled over $1 million to the National Alliance affiliate. You may not know who they are. I did not know who they are. Who is the National Alliance and who is one of their affiliates? Well, it's formerly one of the largest neo-Nazi organizations in the United States. It's interesting, though. At its peak, it had around 1,500 members. But its main leader died in 2002, and then the group splinters. And ultimately, it lost most of its members. It's anticipated that by the mid-2010s, they were down to a few dozen members left.
A few dozen members, guys, 24 people. At its peak, this is what I always said, even during the Charlottesville thing. I go, there aren't neo-Nazis here. There may be some soft form of racism. I've heard blacks say, you know, don't trust whitey. I've heard whites say, that black guy over there, don't go into let your daughters go into that part of town. You know, that's normal. Hardened, insane, neo-Nazi or Klan racist, there's 1,500 of them. That was the most they could find in America to fund the SPLC. Their leader died. It dwindled down to 24 people. They're trying to get you and Biden ran on it, going the number one problem in America is not Al-Qaeda, it's not terrorism, it's white neo-Nazis. It would be generous to say there were 1,500 of them. It was never true. And I'm on the right. No one's more on the right. I'm the right leaning of the right leaning. I'm even on the right in the South, hanging out in the South. I've never even smelt a whiff of a neo-Nazi or a Klansman. There's no such thing. And if they're not here marching in the streets, then where's the big threat? They're not a threat. This is a made-up boogeyman, like aliens, which we're going to get to. Here's another super chat, $10 from Krevlab. Quadzilla. Those are the people that watch all 3 episodes, sometimes 4. We used to do 4 a day, called it Quadzilla. But that means you're my people here in exile. I know you guys. Also a member. Membership's open. Quadzilla, the California kaiju, watching the layers of the Democrat onion being peeled back. Funny what each layer exposes. Yeah. Oh, you can't even imagine what's in that. You know, it's like the artichoke. Now, I'll steal your onion thing, but I'll go artichoke. When you peel all the leaves off and you get to the heart, you know what's at the heart of that thing? Probably some demon with like 18 tentacles with a machine attached to its head, all connected to the internet, like that hideous strength. Funny what each layer exposes. Interesting where the real bigots are hiding in plain sight. Zilla Quad. My Quadzillas are out there making the good points. We're going to keep going. Wait, it gets better.
Left. A few dozen members at the same time, the SPLC is funneling them $1 million. How about a $300,000 funding to the Aryan Nations affiliate?
There's such a small group. Do you know how much money these guys are each making? Like that pie is, those are giant slices of the pie. When you get funded $1 million and there's only 24 of you to split it up.
Here's what's fascinating about the Aryan Nations affiliate. The story is very similar to the National Alliance affiliate. It declined seriously in the early 2000s. But interesting note, in September of 2000, the Southern Poverty Law Center won a $6 million judgment against the Aryan Nations. So now, a decade later, they're back funding to the tune of $300,000 the Aryan Nation. Now, they also sent something like $73,000 to former KKK members and just under $300,000 to a Unite the Right member who is accused of helping to plan the Charlottesville protest.
See that? They're paying for it. This is a complete fraud by Democrats, all to pass on that rotten, filthy, false lie that America is full of racists. And Biden ran on this. Kamala ran on it. The Charlottesville, they ran the lie against Trump. Both sides. And now Tucker Carlson's reward is to say, I regret voting for Trump. I want to reward the racists and the SPLC, the thunders of racists, I want to give them a huge win. Are you crazy? Get your head out, man. Get on the right side. Get on the America side. Because we're having a blast supporting Trump. He's in the right. He's doing fine. The only thing that people go like, Doug, how can you keep supporting him? Don't you see? He's like hemorrhaging support. I'm like, he took a bullet. He saved the country. I'm not squishy. It's not even hard. It's not even close. They're going, his polls are down. I'm like, screw you. I don't care. I do unpopular stuff all the time. You know, one time slavery was very popular. Would you have gone along with everyone because it polled well? You idiot. $10 super chat. Robert, teach out. You're going to find out all the things that Trump is doing now is against the same people that prosecuted him on the global scale. Well, the left, this is all they do. They can't win an argument. So they have to take their rich elite money and fund a bunch of lies. They can't win a debate. They're not going toe to toe with someone on a debate out in public. They're not being transparent and telling the entire public what they're doing and funding the Aryan Nation and the KKK. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't being public with her funding either. It's all this secret clandestine stuff. Other channels that are getting paid to rip on Trump. A little transparency would go a far way. You put some sunlight on mold and it dies. Now, I have to get this rep, Steve Scalise, because I promised you guys I'd do some UFO work here. And you guys already know my position on UFOs. This is junk science. This is garbage tier science. There's never, ever once been proof, not even close, on aliens. Now, we've seen UFOs. That doesn't prove alien anything. I'll give you this. We've never seen proof of ghosts either. But we do have that old blurry film of Bigfoot. And that one, I go, that's the closest thing to actual proof that I go, that's compelling. Now, I'm not saying I believe in Bigfoot, but I go, the one that has the most public proof. And we didn't have to pull that out of our government, talking about 6 million different stories. The public just released it. Where's the equivalent of that with aliens? Where's the bubble-headed guy on grainy 8mm film from the 60s or 16mm film? You don't even have that. So nowhere near close to even Bigfoot with aliens or ghosts or demons. There's no demons on film. Here we go.
I was briefed on an event that occurred where they basically tried to set up a perfect case scenario where that would cause UAP to come in.
What?
And then to capture.
What? They set up an event that attracts UAPs. It's like a hummingbird feeder for UAPs. What do they do? Is this like ET where they put the the Reese's Pieces out on the trail? That's how Elliot did it. He attracted a UAP using Reese's Pieces. What did our government put out? I'll let the chat tell me. What did the government put out? And they made a trail of it to attract the UFOs to come in because they said it worked. Allegedly, this worked. Did they put out a bunch of hookers, prostitutes? Maybe they put out a stack of Playboys and all the little creepy little sexual beings that probe everyone. These little weirdos come in. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Thank you, Doug. MAGA. Yeah, we're hardcore. I've never been more hardcore MAGA. Do you know why? It's like being a Christian with Paul. He goes, where else will we go besides Jesus? If Jesus didn't rise from the dead, we're to be pitied. Where else are you going to go besides Trump? You going to join Thomas Massey and Rand Paul? You going to join those frauds? Imbeciles. Here, you're going to join, look, you're going to join this guy right here, voting with Murkowski. 2 GOP senators side with Democrats to block ICE and CBP funding, Border Patrol funding, block ICE funding, Rand Paul voting with Lisa Murkowski. Is this the answer? Talk about an alien. Talk about attracting UAPs. Look at these two. Someone put too much honey in the bird feeder. Holy smokes. Anyways, these two voted against ICE. Okay, now, wait, where did my alien story go? Dang it. Where is it? There it is. Okay, we're going to get back to that. This creepy guy, not creepy guy, but I don't want to insult him or anything. I want him to do his investigation and release it to the public, but they put out something that attracts UAPs. Yeah.
To capture them or to try to try to document them or record them, and it was very successful. So this is when this only happened a few months ago, and this is when the whole conversation changed because that event.
Okay, hold on. You guys are too funny. Plasma traps. Here's what you guys came up with. Plasma traps. I don't know. And a whole lot of bacon. A whole lot of bacon. I think most people agree. Here's another one. Bacon. Doug, Ilhan Omar is caught on film. We do have a demon on film. We have Ilhan Omar. Free adult material. The aliens want brains. That means Democrats have nothing to fear. Yeah, you wouldn't put out a Democrat mind to bring them in. There's another bacon vote. Bacon. Methamphetamine. Reese's Pieces sounds good. Wait, smelt bacon. What else we got? Bacon. Remember the Mars attacks? They would play Slim Whitman music. Mayonnaise? Wait a minute. Douglas Paxton, I don't get it. Mayonnaise? Okay, bacon. I think we're going to go with bacon on that. So they laid out a bunch. Oh, wait, cocaine. That's good too. Bacon and more bacon. So they laid out some bacon is what my audience agrees is how they attracted the UAPs. And then they trapped them. They got them on film. Guys, this would be the most publicly recorded. And now they're ghost busting. They're laying out traps. But there's no video of them laying out the trap to attract.
Conversation changed because that event was one that no one could deny. There were so many people that witnessed these things.
I deny it. I deny it. I don't care about the witnesses. I care about video.
And these were all credible people working.
Nope, not credible people. If you're credible, I don't care. I don't believe you. I don't care. You know what's weird? All the people that say, Doug, where's the evidence for the arrests? Where's the arrests? I only want to see the arrests. They're the ones most likely to believe in UFOs. So I just go back to them. They're like, where's the arrests? I go, where's the UFO footage? I mean, where's the alien footage? Where's the alien? Video of the alien. Like, where's the proof? There's no proof that we went to the moon. Okay, good. Fine. I'll give you that one. Maybe we didn't go to the moon because you can't find any proof. Now, where's the proof of the video of the alien that you keep telling me exists? Or, oh, no, of course the government would have to cover it up too much. Wait. The lack of evidence. See what I mean? It's like, it's everyone's just belief system drives me nuts. And this guy too. I don't believe it. I don't care how many witnesses you have. I don't care how credible and how kind they are. I want the video.
Credible people working in our top intelligence sector, and they brought me in and briefed me on this almost within a few days or weeks after this event happened. So,
and I'll bet you they all had bug eyes. I'll bet they all look like their eyeballs were stuck on high beam.
Which is, I feel that was nice that they did that. They knew that I was researching this topic. Since then, that is the briefing that everybody wants.
Yes.
So the other members of Congress have heard
mission accomplished. All that you've done is put out a rumor about a briefing that now everyone wants. So if, by the way, all these government agencies with these bug-eyed guys going, and there I was, and there was a light behind a fog in the swamp, and it came up to me, and it gave me some intel. That's all that you have now is everyone wants this brief, because all those bug-eyed government agents want is funding. They want money to do their UFO programs across the board. They won't show you any evidence that this is the ultimate grift. I don't have to show any of my work. I don't have to show anything profitable. I don't have to show anything that's real. I just keep making promises. You won't believe what you're going to see. It's going to curl your toes when you see what the aliens have done. People are psychos. Look at this lady, pretty lady smiling at him. Don't encourage him. Don't give him attention, lady. He's already married and you're probably already divorced twice. So come on, don't encourage him.
This leader Scalise wanted the briefing. He got the briefing along with a couple of other members. I had only told Leader Scalise about this, and now everybody wants this brief.
I only told Scalise, and now everyone wants this brief. So apparently people can't keep secrets on the most protected secret there is. They're just spreading garbage everywhere. Now, I like, this is Scott Jennings. I like when a quiet guy calls Hakeem Jeffries a scumbag, and boy, does he.
Last night in the United States Senate, Republicans bulldozed a Democratic blockade to pass a budget resolution that funds the Department of Homeland Security, which has been shut down for about 68 days now. The Republican budget blueprint would increase by $70 billion spending on immigration enforcement. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, who has been leading this shutdown against the DHS, had this to say in cut number 20.
Adding $140 billion to an agency that nobody, to two groups, Border Patrol and ICE, that nobody respects in this country.
Those are fighting words, at least to Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin, who responded with this in cut number 4.
Makes my ears red. It takes a lot to get me upset. But Chuck Schumer, no one respects you. The definition of a lying scumbag politician, that is you. You would be the definition if you Googled you right now. I mean, why don't you just come out and be honest with American people? He wants to have open borders. If you want to defund the...
I just want to end on him calling Chuck Schumer a lying scumbag. Markwayne Mullin, I'm glad you got that job. He's doing a great job already. Just telling the truth about Chuck Schumer. 2,800 of y'all watching me. I can't thank you all enough. I'm here to bring you the news. I'm going to keep doing it. Saturday, I got to run my marathon, so we're going to have some weird, and we're going to get our phone call from my son, John, who allegedly is a Marine now. But I get the actual phone call from him on Saturday. I do hope to do some kind of a giant live thing Saturday night, and we will all celebrate together. I'll give you all the news. I'll show you my medal if I finish. Pray for the beloved Miss Tenaple and I that I don't just fall over and croak of a heat stroke here in Tennessee. I love working for you guys. I can't thank you enough for watching. We're going to have a blast together in the greatest community on YouTube right here on Doug in Exile.